And we're on. All right. Hello, everybody who's watching. Hello to all of you. We're going to be playing Monster of the Week, which is by Michael Sands. It's powered by the Apocalypse game, in which we have our players creating characters who go out and, whether it's thrust upon them or whether they seek it out, the supernatural begins to influence their life. We're going to be playing in Charleston, the month after Hurricane Hugo, so October 1989. Hugo was a massive hurricane that swept across the southeast and did considerable damage to Charleston. When it passed through, much of the city was flooded. Most of the inhabitants had been evacuated. And here, even a month out, a lot of people still haven't returned, and the city is in pretty bad repair. Each of you will have received an invitation and an offer of a job from a person by the name of Percy Holtzclaw. We will get into in a minute when we have our characters, if you may or may not know him. But he offers you a rather prize opportunity. He wants for experts to go and investigate the old Charleston jail on Halloween night. He is willing to provide this access, and that he is willing to pay you very handsomely for doing this. And he has asked you if you would be so kind as to come to his house on Halloween at about 5 in the afternoon to meet with him to take on this job that evening. And we will begin. I'm just going to go down the line that I have on my screen. So, Garrett, will you introduce yourself and maybe give us an idea of your character?
I'm playing the expert playbook that can be interpreted in very different ways, and I try kind of the magician. So not like a real magician. Well, it could happen that things turn out to be true, what I'm doing. But first of all, I'm making a living out of giving obscure tips to everybody. My name is Monsieur Le Truc, and that's kind of a stage name. So I feel on stages. I'm convenient with handling crowds, and that's the way I like to see my character. But I might also be hired to handle something really coming out of the dark. Who knows? I have a dark past, and this dark past is sometimes hunting me, and I know more about the world than it seems to be obvious. Make fun of me.
Excellent.
Better twice.
What playbook did you say you were using?
So that is the expert playbook.
Okay. All right. Well, Jag, would you like to introduce yourself and your playbook?
Hi, I'm Jag. I'm based in the UK, so there's a bit of a time difference. It's quite late here at the minute, so bear with me if I should still be awake all the way through this. But so I'm in a bit of a quandary about what playbook to choose. I boiled it down to a couple. I've got either the Exile or one or two mundane characters, and really I think it's I'd love some feedback from the group as to which one they would like to see in play. So the Exile, maybe if I start with that one, the idea that I've got is that it's a slaver from a plantation in the area that has slain a callous handler or gang leader with his axe while out chopping some wood, and ran away and suddenly found himself transported. His nemesis potentially is the slave master or such like, and he's appeared in the present time. That character probably has some familiarity with folklore and such like that from his kind of community of enslaved, which may be pertinent to the emergent history of Charleston.
Okay.
Another option was a kind of a street urchin, mundane character, really. So just a kid who is good at finding trouble, good at making trouble, really inquisitive, full of independence, full of bravado and bluster, but still really just a kid with a skateboard and an appetite for danger. So I'm thinking that if you remember that short round from Temple of Doom, Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom, maybe something like him crossed with the young Catwoman from the Gotham TV show.
Okay.
And finally, another option, this is almost straight out of Brazil, Harry Tuttle fighting a lonely war against municipal bureaucracy and occasionally the inhumans that lurk behind the gas boiler, inside the U-bend and beyond the drain, like a secret service for agent for pipes, toilets and things that don't quite flush so easily. And after the hurricane, there's probably a fair few of those that need clearing out. So, yeah, I don't know. Help me out, guys. What would you like to see?
I'm a fan of the mundane playbook, I have to say. But they all sound good.
Yeah, I'm going to have to second that. The mundane one sounds like a pretty cool idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So the old and seasoned vet, or the young whippersnapper kid?
Both of those can fit.
Yeah. Okay. Can I decide after I've heard the rest of the characters? Is that okay? Can we come back?
Certainly.
Yeah. Fabulous. Thank you.
All right. Jeremy, if you would be so kind, introduce yourself and your character.
All right. I am playing the spooky Marcy Price. She is a 17-year-old girl passing for an adult. She ran away from home a couple years ago after having a run-in with a strange extraplanar entity that took up residence in her body after it fled from a higher spatial dimension. She's already having trouble at home, and it led to a few more issues, which she lashed out with some of her new abilities. She's sort of been bouncing around ever since. This thing inside her, she initially sort of felt something of a connection with it, being like a homeless refugee alien. But since then, it's been causing her a lot of pain, headaches, getting more oppressive, and it's started insisting on investigating certain paranormal activities. It seems to be after certain kinds of information.
Awesome.
Yep.
That seems very neat. Very, very cool. You have, I believe you would have your dark side. That's what I'm wanting to.
Right.
What is your dark side that this thing is pushing you towards?
Secrets, soulless, and pain are the categories.
Excellent. All right. Then, you want me to call you Lachiel?
You can call me Robert. It's probably easier.
Okay.
It's pronounced Lachiel, though. It's my online handle. It's kind of a long, weird story. Anyway, my name is Robert. I go by Lachiel on the forums and stuff. I will be playing a snoop by the name of Alec Reed. Alec was a star reporter for the Chicago Tribune, up until about half a year ago, when he was sent up into Canada on a general reporting story, but got involved in a major supernatural incident that resulted in a blackout. During that incident, his reporting instincts got the better of him. He almost got his fiancée killed, who pretty shortly after there, dumped him. When he came back to Chicago, he became very obsessed with the supernatural. attempted to produce several expose stories on it and kind of got laughed out of the business to some extent. He still works for the Tribune, but now he's been sent to Charlotte. Charlotte? Is that where we are?
Charleston.
Charleston. He was sent to Charleston to report on the damage from the storm. However, he's still looking for proof to vindicate himself and has been publishing supernatural articles and things under a pen name ever since. He's a little bit famous, partly for his previous works as a serious journalist and partly under his, pseudonym of the Ragger, publishing these supernatural things. So I'm sure that's what got his personage brought to the attention of our patron.
Gotcha. Excellent. And you have some staff, but I believe you have just one with you, and the rest could be called upon back at home.
Yeah, I took a little liberties here with the playbook because of the time frame in which we are set. This new playbook kind of is geared around like a web blogger or a video blogger or something. None of that exists yet. So I decided to go with the newspaper reporter style, and I swapped out some of the potential equipment that doesn't exist yet with a kind of a funky representation of an old school cell phone, and then thought that my primary crew are still back in Chicago and I would communicate with them via phone. But there is one rather rivalry kind of person here in Charleston.
Okay.
Okay, and that would be Teddy Bishop. He's the photographer, and he thinks I'm a complete nut, and I think he's a complete jerk, right? So,
Perfect.
But we go on site together and we put on our professional attitude and do the job and then get out of each other's hair as quickly as possible. He has also probably been sent here to keep an eye on me by my editor. The other three that I could potentially contact are Benjamin Archer, he's my researcher. I have Danny Maru, who is my assistant. I'll probably kind of borrow a page from Twin Peaks, Agent Cooper, speaking into a dictaphone sort of thing, speaking to her periodically. And then Archer Midland, who is my editor / boss. So, yeah.
All right. That sounds awesome. That's very, very cool. And the story you've been sent to cover is supposed to be the disaster of the hurricane. You're supposed to be doing legit jobs. That's what Archer told you, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Garrett, I wanted to pop back to you real quick. You're taking the expert. The expert has a haven. We're doing a story that really is only going to be, it's set in about a 12-hour period. And it does have that sort of element of as you go in, it's hard to get back out. But I want you to be able to use your haven for some. I don't want you to just not have that part of your playbook to use. So if it sounds good with you, I'm going to give you 3 holds that you can have something you're pulling from your haven that you brought with you. You thought ahead, you had that thing, and you can bring it out in situation. And it should be something that applies well with your choices in Haven.
Yeah, I chose Haven options, which also could be something I carry with me somehow. Yeah, which is the magical laboratory, so where I can have all kind of ingredients and to cast spells and prepare magic, and the mystical library. So that works well with the hold. The mystical library is something where I can use also like the +1 forward for use magic.
Okay. Well, Jag, have you had a chance to hear these and settle on one?
Yeah, they all sound good. I think I'm going to throw in a little bit of age balance in there as well. So I'm going to, maybe it is. I'm going to go for the sassy street urchin, Kenny Doe. That's who it is, and he'll rock up and screech to a halt on his skateboard, do some flips, and then stash that neatly away on his back, tucked behind his hockey stick.
Gotcha.
Guy.
we can kind of go down through. Jag, I don't know if you've had a oh, and let me go ahead and put up into our chat our Roll for Your Party, which is an excellent, excellent resource that Shane Levy created. It is absolutely wonderful. And ooh, there it is. And I believe everyone should have access to the play sheet, the character keeper there, and we'll put in our things as we're going along. I believe everybody's had a chance, it looks like, to put in their stuff, which is excellent. It's wonderful. It even puts us a little ahead of time because I had figured on character creation time, and we seem to have, everybody really did homework, and it was excellent. So y'all are all ready. And we're going to do bonds. I'm going to do a limited version of bonds because for time, and also because y'all are coming from fairly different places. But we're going to use this to sort of do our world build and link a little bit of you guys together and see what you do while you're here in Charleston. So why don't we start from the other end this time? And Robert, if you'd be so kind, why don't you give out 2 of your bonds, and let's see about folks hopping on those.
Okay, so I guess this would be history and Monster of the Week, correct?
It would be.
Or are we using some modified version? Okay,
Nope.
So this is the only part of the character I haven't given a great deal of thought to because I didn't know who or what I'd be playing with. Okay, one could be a huge fan of my work, ask them if they keep it quiet about it or everyone knows.
Anybody like that one?
I can be a fan of your work. I like reading.
All right, so maybe you have read some of the articles I've published under my pseudonym, so that are more in line, or maybe just like my dry pedestrian style. We'll see how that goes. And the other one could be go ahead.
I'm the one with the 2 pages long comments under them. Well, we are not on the internet yet, so this is like
you've
newspapers
read
edited
tons of letters to the editor.
Yes, sending plenty of letters over.
Yeah.
All right, and a second one?
This would be more of a complication, so I kind of like this. They missed a monster kill because of something you did. Ask them what you screwed up.
Anybody hopping?
No one likes it? I could go with another one.
No, it's not that. Yeah, maybe. Maybe that could have been something.
Okay, my other choice then, if that one is just kind of okay, is your best friend from school, university, film class, or news class, or something to that effect. Could be very easy to work in. But I kind of like the complication idea. That adds a little drama.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I was hunting for something. And,
I was investigating the same thing. And
yeah. Maybe you spooked it with the trying to take a picture or something, and you got away.
I was on the other side of like a football field and came out with my camera, and I could be kind of cool. The flash caused the monster to not go into the trap that you had so carefully laid.
All right.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, that could be during the blackout. That's actually the event that got me rolling into this whole thing. I didn't even know about monsters then.
Ooh, that's interesting. One of your like first times you encounter sort of thing.
Yeah. So he is actually, or she, right? Your character.
Yeah, she, Marcel.
So she is actually the reason that I and my fiance at the time had survived. You know, because I went stumbling in there not knowing what was going on. That's cool. Okay.
Excellent. All right. Jeremy, can I take it from what you're saying there? What we're developing is you probably are an actual hunter. That is something you do?
Yeah, yeah. I think this swarm hinting inside me sort of compels me to investigate the supernatural for reasons of its own, and occasionally I manage to make a buck off it. Keep on going. So,
Do you do it to just for the investigation, or when you catch them, is there something that what's inside you compels you or wants you to do with them?
I think it has some method of if I actually physically take whatever I catch apart, it seems to grow more powerful by studying it.
Oh, okay. That's very cool. All right. Want to throw out a couple of bonds and see what we hook?
Yeah, let's see. Maybe in my investigations I've heard of Monsieur Letroc, and I'm a bit of a fangirl, and hope maybe he might be able to teach me something about magic.
Oh,
way
that's
to
nice.
control whatever's inside me or get rid of it.
You like that,
Can
Garrett?
teach you how to make rabbits disappear.
Well, I don't know yet.
Saw a woman in half.
When they come back, they have horns like this. Ooh.
All right, and a second one.
Ooh, let's see. Jack, what's your character's name?
My character's name is Kenny.
Kenny. All right. Maybe like you saw me kill something one time, and I ended up using my powers to throw you out of the way, like on the street at some point in the middle of the night.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You like that?
Yeah, I do.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. Does Marcy, is she primarily located in the southeast, or does she travel all over?
No, I think she travels all over, but she's been here for a while ever since she gotten a sense of a particular entity here. She has the tune-in ability, so she can kind of track monsters.
I think that you probably, after this storm, that this area has built up. You can just feel it. It's almost like the humidity. It's just dripping with the spirit world around you.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jag, would you like to give us 2 of your history bits?
Yeah, okay. So I think one of these is you save them from unlikely chain events. And funny enough, I was thinking that might also be Marcy. I was thinking that following on from you saving Kenny's life, a few days later we stumble upon each other on a incident that happened in a side street, and I recognized you and brought my skateboard and hockey stick to the rescue, to create a little bit of a gap for you to dispatch to safety. And I guess maybe that's rather than it being a coincidence that you managed to save my life in the first place, we were sort of drawn to each other in the end, and that created a more than just an accidental connection.
Sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Excellent.
And I'm a bit suspicious, maybe due to their unnatural powers or something like that. No, I think I'm a bit suspicious of Alec Reed, the Snoop. He seems to know an awful lot about an awful lot, more than, and it's just inconceivable to this kid that somebody who knows so much about what's going on at really a street level, and is clearly not from the street, is so in touch with things.
Sound good to you there?
Sounds very cool.
Excellent.
Okay, great.
And Garrett, and if everybody would like to, jot them into your character, the character keeper, that probably would help us keep up with them a little better. But keep them in mind. Garrett.
All right. So, I have one thing I'm excited about. There is one history bit which says you were previously both members of an eldritch group, now disbanded. And then, after somebody has agreed to be also in this group, you left, and then why I left.
So, anybody think they have studied in this eldritch community?
So there was a series, a book club in the 80s, and I subscribed to that, like with the Times mystery books, or I don't know if they were a thing in the States. In Germany, where they were really big, and it was all about the pyramids and how the aliens landed there, and the Amazon, and who's living there, and that they cured cancer already, and
So I don't know that Kenny would have studied there, but I think his mom might have, and she used to drag him along to the same book group, and he kind of used to hang around in the corridor while she kind of did the business and finished the kind of the conversations about stuff, and she kind of got to know a few of you, and then when she died, really you were the only adult person that he knew around. Maybe.
Oh, that's nice.
Does that work out for you?
Perfect. Yes. So.
And she was probably a true believer. She believed in the supernatural wholeheartedly, right?
Yeah, I think that's probably why I'm not fazed so much by it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I got kicked out because somebody proved that my research and my results were all wrong.
Oh.
So I was in dishonor. I was kicked out.
I see. Cool.
So the other one is I think so. I think I have a connection to all of you by now. Right? Yeah, I think so. In one direction, and so I could intensify that by putting something or make it even more logical. There's one thing which could also establish some more lore here. They once helped you get a singular item that is now part of my haven. And I can tell you what it was.
That's an interesting one. Either one of you gentlemen want to jump on that?
Me. Something.
Maybe that's how I know you're legitimately magical and not just a hack. Is I found something and maybe you agreed to take care of it because it was dangerous, or.
Oh yes, and you had these particles from a different dimension or something, right?
Yeah, it's entity that lives inside me.
So I can tell you what you organized for me, and it wasn't from an alien race, an aphrodisiac.
Ah.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right then. And are you located primarily in Charleston, Monsieur Letrec?
Or close by. Like I'm not so good in U.S. geography, so it could also be like Houston or something.
You could Atlanta.
Atlanta. That sounds good. Yeah.
All right. And you do your professional work there and kind of travel a little. All right. And you say you're a stage magician part of your time, is that correct? Oop, did Garrett freeze?
Yeah.
Garrett did freeze. Hopefully he will be back momentarily. I have known Garrett to have he's down in Guatemala and he has trouble occasionally with his connection. All right. Well, we have everybody with bonds, and it sounds like we have let's see, 3 natives, or at least familiar, and it sounds like, let's see, Alec has come in and probably does not know Charleston particularly well.
No.
Marcy is familiar with the town and has been here a few times. Monsieur Lettre has also been here on occasion and maybe isn't like a native, but knows something of the area. And Kenny is probably a native, it sounds like. All right. We'll wait just a second more, and then we're going to, I think we'll be getting started. Sounds like we have our characters together. Just as a quick thing, probably about 8 o'clock, I would give us a bio break. If anybody needs to do something or has to need a break, just yell at me. It's fine. It may be a little bloody. My campaign, my little story here. Feel free to say, "Ooh, okay, that's enough gore." But I do like some good body horror. And other than that, is there any questions going in that anyone has?
I have one question. Given that this is basically a multi-session one-shot, how are we handling luck? Do we have the full gambit of luck, or are we...
That's a very good question. I'm giving, and this is something I meant to have put up actually today so that you would know. We're starting with 3 luck. And I'm also going to allow you, I guess I should have done this right at the beginning, and for some reason it slipped my mind. You may all take an advancement. So if you wanted to take a move that gave you a luck, you may take it up to 4. But you are all starting at 4. Because I do want to have you all have a little bit of something going in. We may not get enough to level. I'd like everybody to at least have a chance to pick something out that they really liked.
Okay.
I'm hoping you'll level in the team.
Add one more choice?
You do.
Awesome.
And I'll tell Garrett that when he gets back, and we may have to continue on if we don't hear from him, which would be a shame. While we give him a second more, I'll also say I'm going to play with a couple of things that hopefully will work. I play tested the scenario a few times where, there's Garrett back, where we will be doing flashbacks. I think that'll be kind of useful in how we're telling this story since we're going into this jail. Won't have a lot of time to come out. But we can do some flashbacks during the course of this of people you've talked to, where you got some information in this little tiny period you're going to have between meeting him, going in. We can do those as flashbacks during the course of the game as well. So that'll let us kind of play with that. And Garrett, I was letting everyone know, I'm glad you're back first off, but I was letting everybody know that we're going to start with 3 luck. Everyone has 3 luck since it's a much shorter thing than a campaign. And you also have an advancement that you could pick up to start with, which if you choose one of the moves that gives luck, you're able to take it 4. And there will be, I think, opportunities to be using that luck. I also have in up there with our stuff the luck moves for all the classes rather than just like the spooky has one automatically. They came through later and Michael said he had wanted to have them included with every class. He's now put up some things. So I have a list. It is in that stuff I gave for everyone when they use a luck. They're pretty cool. I like them. All right. So when everyone feels like they picked their advancement and is ready to go, we will start off our story. You guys are starting off. Our scene is everyone standing in the courtyard looking at that front facade of the jail. Behind you, you see flashing blue lights beyond the gates. You can also see a black SUV as well as the police car back there. Our camera sweeps across as we get this dramatic, heroic scene of our intrepid adventurers preparing to go in. It cuts across each of you. And as you look at this building, and it's creepy and dark, you think to yourself, what in the world has made me decide it's worthwhile to go and do this crazy thing? And we shift our scene to you thinking back to when you received your letter from Percy Holtzclaw. Because this will give us our final bit of history. Each of you received this letter, which for you, let's see, Jeremy, where does Marcy usually stay? Does she have a foster home, or is she at the orphanage?
Oh, no, I think she's probably been, well, she's 17, but I think she's passing for an adult, so I'm pretty sure she's probably living in some shady apartment complex.
The women's home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with, all the people who had money managed to evacuate, and so you probably had it fairly rough here on the streets. How have you been earning money?
I was, ever since I got here, been working nights at a gas station.
Okay. You receive a letter. It looks like it has been kind of battered up. It's gone through several different hands. It's got that crinkle of having gone back to the post office several times over. But when it arrives, it has your mother's name on it and your old address.
All right, well, yeah, I'll open it.
Looking inside, it says to you, what's your mother's name?
Susan.
My dear Susan, it has come to my attention that you have always provided some of the best information and articles having to do with unusual circumstances. I had taken note of some of your inquiries at various of our various meetings, and you seem like someone who perhaps could help me out. I admit that you do not know me well, but I assure you that I am more than capable of paying for your time. In fact, I believe that I can make it quite a valuable little endeavor if you choose to take it. Please be so kind as to come by my home, and he gives you it has an address written. Thank you very much, Percy Holtzclaw. Included in this letter is he has put in what he's offering you, this special incentive. What is it that Percy Holtzclaw was able to offer you that made you go, yes, I'm going to take this, it's worth it?
So I think it is, it looks like a page from a book, but it's very clearly like an old handmade piece of paper with this written in elaborate hand, and it's clearly describing an account of someone being inhabited by whatever entity I am possessed by.
Okay.
So I have to know more about that.
And the entity came into you at what point in your life? How old were you when you got your entity?
About 15.
15. Was your mother alive or passed?
She was alive.
She was alive. Okay, excellent. So she probably would have been trying to figure out what was wrong with her child, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right then. Let's see, Jag. What the letter that comes to you with much the same in the lines of I would very much. I have seen. Let's see. What would he have known best for you? I think probably he's going to say, certain people in the know have expressed that you are magnificently capable of taking care of the unusual. Some might even say the supernatural. These friends have suggested that you would be perfect to take on a little endeavor that I'm putting together. I would be very happy if you would attend me at my home at 5 o'clock. I am more than capable and willing to reward you handsomely for what time is taken. Percy Holtzclaw. What in the letter did he offer you that made this worth it?
So, I think maybe he's made some allusion to the connection that he has, or a connection that he has with my recently departed mother.
Ooh.
Possibly my mother, but possibly he knows something of the father that I never knew.
Excellent. Okay. I might be able to shed some light on your father and where you could find him. Okay. Robert, would you like to, you receive your letter.
Okay.
It is fairly formally written for you. There's none of that, my dear. It is Mr. It is Mr. and it's put across to you. It has been brought to my attention that you investigate some of the more unusual and interesting aspects, news that is lost to the common man. I find that I have access to a place that might interest you and may give you that story you've always dreamed of.
Tangible proof of the things I've been writing about is kind of what he's hinting at that I could get. That's fantastic. I also have a start of mystery move that is minor celebrity, which I'm just a role and I can hold for having people that I run into recognize me and that sort of thing. Should I do that now?
You can go ahead and do that now and go ahead and have your holds up there.
Okay, so how do I make this thing work?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you put in your number of dice up at the top.
I think I just rolled it. Did you guys see that? Does it show up?
Is it your 2 6s?
Yep.
Excellent.
That's
and
fantastic.
then if you'd like, you can drag them off to the side and keep the same ones. If you wanted to label them like the other two had, where it says label, write your name in, and you can change your color. It's a really cool one.
Oh.
And by the way, this also has the X card in it if anybody wants to use it. It's anonymous there.
I did use the label minor celebrity. Oh, I see. You can actually, you just drag and drop. That's cool. Okay, groovy. Okay, so I have hold 2 for the future of this thing. All right. So I get my letter, and as I'm reading it, my eyes are probably getting a little bit larger, and I look around to see if there's anybody from the crew watching, and I fold it neatly and I put it into my attaché case, and I nervously check my watch and quickly go over to try to wrap up this interview with these storm-ravaged victims, and prepare to find a taxi or whatever I can to get to where I need to go.
All righty. Yeah. And Monsieur Lautrec, you receive also a letter. He will mention that there are many who say your skills with the arts of the unknown are unmatched. I have been would be delighted if you would be so kind as to bring your puissant knowledge to us here, to me here, and take on this little endeavor. And I will make sure that even for a man of your talents and abilities, that you are rewarded handsomely. What does he offer you, Monsieur Lautrec?
Oh, he has something very special to offer, and you can see my lower third here with my nice face and my hair and everything. And on the other side, you see a golden skull, and that skull is something I'm looking for. I've read a lot about it. It comes from Western Africa, and like ancient scrolls have shown that this was the first house musician in the world. So House is actually not from Detroit. But you can see from this old ancient scrolls that this was a shaman from the Western Africa, and he made house music. You can easily identify that from the points made there. And if you play that, you find like perfect house songs, like Pump Up the Volume and stuff like that. You can like all find it in there.
Proto house musician, I see.
Yeah.
Excellent. And he will, you will see where he has attached a photograph of this item there on the letter to you.
I'm delighted.
All right. All of you, sounds like you head off to meet Mr. Holtzclaw, and you are through various, it's not easy to get a cab at the moment, but there are cabs to be found. And of course, Charleston is itself a rather small city and built for walking. You can walk there easily enough as well. All of you arrive at roughly the same time, 5 o'clock, and are met. The house is an old-fashioned townhouse, a 3-story, and in the Charleston style, it's very narrow on the street, only about 50 feet across, but it extends deep, deep into the lot behind it, all of these very long houses, which was how Charleston was built. So it extends probably 100 feet back, and beyond it would be a garden, for those of you who know Charleston. It is beautiful and in a section of town which is unbelievably expensive. And as you knock on the door, you are greeted by a fairly cadaverous older man in tails, and he, well, hello, may I help you? And as you show him your letter, Mr. Holtzclaw was expecting you. Please follow me into the parlor. And so, all 4 of you are brought to the parlor, and you have a few moments as the butler leaves off drinks for each of you to speak amongst yourselves.
I look at Marcy and like, you.
You. Ah.
What are you doing here?
I'm pointing at Alec Reed. It's like, you!
Yeah. I open my mouth, start yelling at Alec Reed, and then I see Monsieur Lautrec. I'm like, oh my God! Monsieur Lautrec! Do you remember me? You probably don't remember me.
Lautrec! You're the guy that wrote all those letters to my editor. I'm very pleased to meet you.
Yes, it's a pleasure. Yeah, it's good to see you. And like, wow, Kenny, you are here as well.
What are you doing here? What are you, Mr. Lautrec? I didn't expect to see you here. Any of you, in fact, Marcy, crikey. But and I always put to Marcy, what's Reed doing here? He's a bit of a fishy sort, you know?
Yeah. Man, you know that guy scared off my first monster?
Well, you know, man, at that time, I was unaware of all of the vicious, horrible things that exist in the night. You know, I apologize for my my inexperience in these matters, but I hope you've come to realize that in the months that have passed since, I have uncovered truths that boggle the mind.
Can you help me glare at this guy? Just stare at you silently.
This is no coincidence. This is the beginning of a mystery that we are all here at the same time. Something we should investigate. Hopefully we don't find out that we are just part of a role-playing game.
The door opens after you've all been there a few moments, and the butler says, "If you will follow me, Mr. Holtzclaw will see you." And you head through this house. It's beautiful. There are paintings on the walls. The carpets are lush, expensive. The entire place is glistening clean with dark woods. And you're brought into a parlor. There's windows that show out towards the garden. Has a beautifully ornate desk. The walls are done in that true cloth wallpapering, kind of a deep burgundy. And there are pictures of portraits of people all around. You also see, sitting on a love seat, though he stands as you come walking in, we have him up on our character keeper, Mr. Percy Holtzclaw. You'll see in the NPCs. And he is indeed, has that bird with him, which he stands up and holds it and pets it slightly. As he says, "Thank you for coming so very much. I was so hoping that all of you would arrive." And he moves around behind his desk. And how about we take a break as we're about to meet and deal with Mr. Holtzclaw. Everybody have a bio break, and we'll do about 5 minutes and get back started up at about 8:04. Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good.
See you shortly.
See you shortly.
Alrighty.
Sorry, it's a kid's bedtime there. It's going to be Grand Central Station around here for a few minutes.
That's perfectly fine.
So I'm pretty excited to be part of this group. I've been like watching Gauntlet podcasts and videos for a while. It's the first time I've got to play with any of you guys.
Yeah.
Have any Jeremy, have you and Jag played before together?
No. This is only the second game I've played online, actually.
I gotcha.
Yeah, same here. I've not played with any of this crew before. I've only recently started playing Gauntlet games, so this is my second one.
I played a few. This is the first one I'm running. Garrett and I play together a fairly good bit. We've run across each other several times.
I've seen Garrett on YouTube before.
He's an amazing player.
Yeah.
His psychic in the Keepers was really amazing.
Yeah, Garrett's a wonderful person to play with. And hopefully he'll be back. Everybody I've played with on Gauntlet, though, are absolutely wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody is so very nice and such good players, and it's always so much fun to play with people from Gauntlet.
This is actually my first PBTA game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've been wanting to play one for a good year now, I think.
Well, I hope I'll be getting some dice dropping here for too long. We've had a lot of setup. I'm hoping we'll get some dice flowing here in a minute or two. Hit the mechanic.
Yeah.
All right.
Quite lucky. I'm based in a city in the UK called Sheffield, and we have a whole bunch of games conventions. And this year, one of them that started was a Powered by the Apocalypse dedicated one called Revelation.
Oh, that's
so
nice.
It's 2 days of just Powered by the Apocalypse games.
Dang,
5 sessions
wow.
of them.
That's cool.
Revelation
That does sound
games.
awesome.
Yeah,
I really
it's
just
awesome.
started playing the Powered by the Apocalypse games about 6 months ago.
It's about the same for me. No, it's almost a year now.
I played a lot of other types of games, but I really like these Powered by the Apocalypse games. I dove right in. All right, then. We're going to start our scene as Percy gets behind his desk and offers you chairs. Please, feel free to sit down. And once you're seated, he'll say, each of you has been brought to my attention, but he keeps looking over at you, Kitty. Young man, I'm not exactly sure. Why are you here?
Well, Mr. Holtzclaw, you invited me.
Doe, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You said you knew something about my dad.
Yes. Excellent. Well,
This isn't just another book club, is it? I look
No.
over to Monsieur Letrugs and I say, have I been hoodwinked here?
no. I'm sorry. I have a certain opportunity that might interest each of you. You see, I have been given access this evening exclusively to the old Charleston jail. Some of you may have heard of it. It is said to be inhabited by the most unusual and active of spirits, hauntings of all sorts, it's said. Tonight, of course, being Halloween, traditionally, Such borders between the worlds are said to be low. Also, some rather unusual things have been brought to my attention since the flood. It would seem that the sewers actually backed up as the tide came in. And when the surge hit, the sewers evacuated themselves throughout the jail. In the process, breaking through several walls and uncovering some rather unusual things. One of my friends works as a custodian, caretaker, you might say there. And he says that in the lowest basement, a room was uncovered by the waters. He was forced to flee before drowning. But my investigations have led me to believe this may be one of the hidden cells where pirates, or those that could afford to get themselves buried in holy ground once they have been committed to the cells, would be able to afford. I am interested to see what these things are, and in particular, it's my belief that an ancestor of mine might be located there. Over the years, I have looked very diligently into the matter and have, up until now, run into a stone wall, as it were. But the flood has knocked the stone wall down, it would seem. If you would be so kind as to go and retrieve a necklace that is on my ancestor's body and return it to me. I wish to give it to my beloved wife. He points up to the portrait behind him. You see a picture in the character keeper. The painting looks quite old, and she looks fairly old in the painting. He looks to be in his late 30s, early 40s. Says, I wish to give it to her as a sign of my affection. If you would agree to go in and retrieve this, I will give you recompense I think is commensurate to the difficulties. And of course, you have access to something quite prime in the field of your studies. He sits back down. Is there any questions you might have?
Look, I gotta be honest. I signed up for this gig because you sent me a page from a book. Am I to understand that you have information that might be valuable to me? Yes. I wade through sewage in this prison for you?
Yes, indeed. And again, he gets that sort of addled look in his eyes. Yes, there's a tome, and he kind of moves over, and he's, again, got that sort of glassy-eyedness to him as he goes over to it and lifts it. I believe that this might be something that you're interested in, something that has to do with your studies.
All right. Well, sounds good to me then. Got yourself a deal.
Oh, so it's a great honor, to participate in this venture. I have to admit. I'm still a bit uncomfortable because I'm wearing the same socks as Mr. Holzclaw, and so I'm sitting a little bit behind that nobody can see that. But like places like prisons, they are like usually like they can be hunted, and well, if they had been pirates, like even nastier things, like they bring from the sea, like from islands, like from all over the ocean, but possibly even from the Caribbean. So everybody who is in here should be aware that this could be a dangerous task. Something to write about, by the way, Mr. Reed.
Absolutely. I've been scribbling in my notebook furiously since we began the discussion.
He says, well, if you're all in agreement, and he sort of comes back to himself again, that glassy sort of stare fades away for a moment as he, I have arranged for you all to be admitted at sundown. You may, of course, avail yourself of the house until then, if you'd like. It should be at about 7:30. If you wish, you can arrive there. I am, unfortunately, simply not of the constitution to go down myself. But I will stay outside to provide any help I possibly can. He reaches... Yes.
That sounds very good to me, but like something you can do for us is like, you are the owner of this place, right? So it's always good, no matter who you meet, that you can identify as being legally there. So, and ghosts and other supernatural creatures don't care that much about like any kind of piece of paper you have if it's not written in your own blood. So could you like sign something in your own blood for us, like on an old manuscript or something, like something which, like a piece of paper which is at least 100 years old, because younger papers are usually not like they fade away.
Sure, Lautrec, I beg your pardon, sir.
That's totally true, you know.
You hear it? Yeah. But just a small statement. Doesn't need much blood here. I can help you with the preparation.
I do not think that my blood... Why don't you roll me? I'll manipulate someone.
Yeah, I mean, he wants success in this mission as much as we want. So let's see if this works as leverage. I roll a 6 and my charm is 1, which makes it a 7.
All right. He says,
do it.
If you think it is necessary, however, I should also, if we're going to go to such extremes of formality, he reaches underneath his desk and he pulls out a chest, rather pretty ornate brass-bound chest. He says, well, then I shall sign that you are to go in off of my authority, as it has been arranged, in my sign with my blood. And when you get the necklace, do go ahead and put it in the box for me.
Will do so.
And so he
Somebody else can take the necklace.
So he fills out that you are allowed in based off of his own authority, and he will sign it with his blood. He rather cringes as he pricks his finger, but he does do it. And so you guys have about 2 hours, but we're going to, as you're, heading out from him, we're going to cut ourselves back to standing in front of the building. We can do flashbacks off of anything you would like to do from there. So if you wish to call, have done some research, we can hit those as flashbacks from here. As you're standing in the courtyard, behind you is the policeman who had let you in here, and the black SUV, which Percy is sitting inside of. You're looking up at this place. It is dark. There is a terrible smell that is flowing out of it, of sewage and something sweet and rotting. And you could see where it had burst out the door and what glass panes were in the bottom windows as this just mass of sewage backwash came flooding across the courtyard and sort of is covering the stairs. It looks a little slick. Which of you has the box?
No one else is going to take it. I'm totally holding the box. I'm like,
all right. Okay, no. Do you open it up?
Yeah. I definitely do.
Oh no, the one with the R particle.
All right. You open it up, and inside it's velvet covered. But why don't you roll me an investigate a mystery on it? You start looking this thing over.
Oh god, no. 3 something.
I told you, not the one with the particles.
Looking it over, it seems like it has an impression for the necklace to go into this velvet. Fiddling it around, though, it seems like a perfectly old but normal box. You do notice as you're rubbing across it that it has sort of a rough finish. And you do prick your finger ever so slightly against it, drawing a little tiny bit of blood.
Deal is.
As we look up here at this building, and anyone, I would say probably Alec, what are you going to be doing there?
Okay.
Standing up looking at it.
2 things. Am I on mute?
No, you're good.
All right. So 2 things are going on. In the present, Alec is dictating into a little cassette tape recorder with a large red and brown buttons pressed down, and he's got a little silver microphone he's speaking into about the standing in the awesome presence of the ancient jail and the stench being overpowering and about to enter the belly of the beast, whatever. And then we have a flashback to just after we left the manse, and I had asked to, briefly examine or to look at the box. Then in prep for coming here, we had like 2 hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I went back to the hotel room and placed a call to my research assistant and asked him to. I missed the audio went out, so I missed all the stuff about the necklace. But I whatever I knew, I would ask my Benjamin Archer to do any research or any research he can come up with on this artifact and anything that's known about it.
Okay. That sounds like an investigative mystery.
I think I can agree with that. So rolling 2d6.
And so you're looking over the necklace and some association with the jail and that sort of thing.
The history of the jail and pirates and et cetera, et cetera. And did that roll? Oh, there we go. So I rolled a 3 and a 4. And investigative mystery is...
So you've got a 7. That'll be going off of your sharp.
Sharp. What is my sharp? My sharp is +1, which gives me an 8.
Very good. You will get to have one question or one hold off the investigative mystery. You could use it now, or you could hang on to it a bit. But your researcher will give you at least a couple of quick things back about the jail. One of the more famous ghosts that's supposed to roam its halls is a Lavinia Fisher. She is famous as America's first serial killer, female serial killer, who she and her husband would poison people when they came to their inn and then bury their bodies or throw them in the swamp. And when she was caught in 1802, she famously said from the scaffolding, "If you have any messages to deliver to hell, I'll be there to take. I'll be able to take them." And then they hung her.
Nice.
Yeah, she is the most famous ghost. But there are several, it's a place that was open from the late 1600s to the mid 1800s. And then it was used as a Civil War prison past the 1860s. And you also hear reports of where there have been lots of people who have tried to investigate this before over the years, in search of, even sent a team back in the 70s to try and take a look at it.
Looking at the necklace or looking at the jail itself?
The jail itself. The other thing your researcher pulls back is that off of this knowledge, kind of searching this stuff, Holtzclaw is actually a descendant of the Fishers.
Who?
Lavernia herself is supposed to be buried in a potter's grave somewhere on the jail grounds.
Interesting. So is there any connection between the necklace and her?
That your researcher does not. Would you like to use a hold?
No, I'm going to save that hold for just now because I have an idea for it, but I want to find some more bits of evidence. So back into the present, I wrap up my brief dictation into my tape recorder, press pause, and look to the others to see what everybody is doing.
All right. What's Marcy doing?
Sucking on my hurt finger. I'll turn to Alec and thrust the box into his arms. Here, take this damn thing. Do something useful for once.
All right, Marcy, I can carry that for you, young lady. And I place it into my attaché case that I carry with me, alongside the tape recorder and all that stuff. Oh, I have an EMF reader. I'm going to pull that out and kind of, give it a once over on this box. Is it picking up anything?
It is putting up spikes of rather high fields. If you believe that your technology works solidly, then there seems to be a great deal of activity here.
Interesting. And then I pointed at the jail itself.
It spikes.
Oh.
I put it away.
Man, Kenny.
You shriek in the same way. Do we all?
It does. Kenny, I think they are still busy with Macy's box. So we might investigate a little bit the entrance, and see what's going on there. What do you think? What should we do here?
I think that there's got to be another way in that's maybe not as obvious as this.
And if you ask my advice, I think we should stay together. We should definitely stay together and stay away from that wall. Don't climb up there, right? Alone.
In that case, I absolutely ask your advice.
You should.
And is that what you're telling me that we need to do?
Let's stay together. It's very important. If you want my honest advice, I know you're very competent, but I mean, this could be dangerous. This place. Stay with us, okay?
Yeah.
I'll not stray far, and I give you a kind of a pat on your elbow and say, I'll bear that in mind, and I walk directly in the opposite direction.
Sorry about him. He's my sidekick. He's a little unruly sometimes.
And what I'm doing is
Triggering your contrary.
I am doing that. I'm doing that, and I'm just getting a little bit of distance as I take a moment to investigate something that I picked up from Holtzclaws on the on the way out, and I remember just before we left, I caught him and said, "Listen, Mister, I don't know that you've got the right person here because I'm not sure that you've got any information about my dad at all. I bet you don't even know who my mum is. So, you know, if this is just a wind-up, let's
Oh, young man.
let's keep this civil and call it a night. And I'm a busy kid. I'll get on with my day, and you get on with yours with the crew, and you know that's it.
Rest assured, young man, and he will reach over to the desk and pull out a file and show you a picture of a man. He may not know that he's your father, but my people are quite certain he is. I'd be more than happy to not only give you all this information, but aid you in easing into this somewhat problematical situation.
It certainly is a problem. So yeah, so I think this is an oops move, I guess, from him. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Give me something to take away as a show of a good gesture.
Yeah. Well, he will give you the picture. But as you take the picture here, take this with you, and as you take it away with you, you can, as you get to the hall, on the back of it, there's very odd script. It doesn't look like English. It doesn't look like even normal letters that you see has been scribbled across the back of it.
So it maybe looks a bit like a graffiti tag in my interpretation.
Perhaps, or it has a very almost, if you've read Lord of the Rings, it has a little bit of that elven-y look to the script, or very delicately written script.
Right. Okay. So back outside the prison, I've taken a moment to step underneath a street lamp to look upon this picture once again and remember and see, could this really be my father? And on the other side, it's like just as I'm tucking it back into my my cargo pants pockets, there's I notice again the script that's on the back, and I take that back to Monsieur Letruc and say, does this look familiar to you?
Oh, this is old. Where did you get this from?
I got it from Holtzclaw.
Okay. Nasty woman. Okay. Let me have a look. Let me analyze this. I have seen several things which are related to that, but like they are all over the world.
It does seem somewhat familiar to you. Why don't you roll for me a sharp?
Which?
Just sharp. Just roll me a straight sharp roll.
Very sharp. But I roll a 3 plus 2 is still only 5.
Looking at it, you would swear that this is something like Enochian, like the language of the angels, perhaps.
Can I possibly help him out in any way, such as using my knowledge of local research and things like that to help giving him some insight into what this could possibly be?
However, you can only push me to a 6.
Yeah. Oh, I couldn't get you. Yeah, that's true. It's only +1. Never mind.
And so you're thinking that this probably is the language of the angels. It is magical script. It's a sort of thing that wizards, people who practice these arts, use. But that's only if if it really works for them. but taking a look at it, you could see a striking similarity between Kenny and his father's picture.
Yes.
My second question to you, Mr. Latruc, you knew my mother. Did you ever see her with this man?
Don't ask me questions like this. And I don't say anything more about it.
I look. I take the picture back and gingerly, sheepishly put it back into my cargo pants pocket and look dolefully at you. I didn't mean to upset you, Mr. Latruc. And
Okay.
I take my skateboard in one hand and my hockey stick in the other and drag them away towards Marcy. Is it time to go in now?
Yeah. Hey, how do you know Mr. Latruc? Man, that guy's famous, you know. We've been on a few adventures together. We're really close.
Yeah, he used to go to the same book club as my mom. Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know what they used to read, but yeah, he used to hang around.
Yeah, I'm nervously looking into Alec Reed's direction if he's noting that down, all this.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But actually, Alec will walk over to you, Mr. Latruc, and say, Mr. Latruc, you seem to be the expert here in these matters, at least amongst this group of individuals. What would you say is a wise idea for us to just enter through the main door, given thresholds and all of that sort of mystical mumbo-jumbo? Don't we leave something of ourselves on the outside?
Okay. We leave something at the outside. That is a good idea. Because like this, we are still connected to the non-spiritual part of the world. So everybody, please put something down here on the ground, and then we enter together. This is my honest advice to you.
Okay.
Alec
will pull out from his attaché case his Polaroid camera and ask the police officer with us to take a group photo of us with the jail behind us, and then we'll leave that picture on the ground.
I tell the others, this is a trick. He wants to find out if one of us is a ghost. Okay, so let's smile together.
A few moments later, and a shake of it, and all of you are visible in the picture.
So we leave that photograph on the ground with maybe something personal. I'll leave my business card.
Okay. Everybody going to leave a little something there to represent them with their picture?
Yeah.
All right.
I will pull out a Bowie knife from my hoodie and cut off a lock of my hair.
Great.
Excellent. All right.
Let's enter the building.
Yes. You head forward up the stairs and reach the doors. They had been left unlocked by the police to let you get in. You can also see where, honestly, if you wanted to, you could just open them anyway. They're pretty much leaning. You could pull them up. They probably bust open when all this spray came out, and they put them back together, and they had chained them. Now there's no chain, so as you pull it apart, it has a streak as it comes back, and the smell that hits you is overwhelming. And it is dark inside. You can see the occasional bits of light from the blue lights, but the city, this part of the city, hasn't got electricity back, and it's very dark in there. But you can hear beyond the sounds of drips, rather heavy, thumpy drips inside. Do any of you, all of you would have like a flashlight. Some of you might have a super special flashlight, but all of you have at least a light source you could have brought with you.
I load up
Flipping
my
it.
Duracell batteries and flip on the flashlight. It's just one of those little plastic Radio Shack jobbies.
Exactly. And so, shining around in here, you can see this is a large open foyer. Beyond, you can see stairways that go into the cells, which stretch straight back. It's fairly open. To each side, you see there's a room that has a set of stairs. You know, those go up to the towers. And you can also see off from either side, there are doorways. The one on the left in your light seems to go forward. The one on your right, looking through it, seems to have a set of stairs down. Inside of here, the city, what little noise there was, is completely muffled. And it's eerily quiet except for the plunk of, as you look around, mold and mildew dripping down onto the floor from the 20-foot ceiling. You're about, the bottoms of your shoes are squelching in a sort of slimy puff mud goop. At least you hope it's mud.
I pull out a handkerchief from my attaché case and hold it over my face as we walk into the hallway.
Which direction is the most gloomy looking?
Stairways down are often really gloomy looking, but you can almost feel the malevolence coming from back where the cells are.
That's straight ahead?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I drop my skateboard, turn to the crew and say, wait here, don't worry, I'll check it out. And I take the skateboard and zoom along the corridor to try and to reach the end and see whether or not there's further places to investigate at the end of that corridor.
All right. So you guys see him set off. He starts heading down the hallway. It's gloopy, but you're able to skate across the stone floors and roll, shining your light around. These cells are nothing but steel or probably iron bars. They look corroded as they have stone, tiny little contained compartments there that are the cells that line either side. The only sound is the echoing of your wheels as they're moving across, or at least as you're reaching the back of it, it was the only sound. As you are certain you hear of a girl giggling.
I wheel the skateboard round, pivot on the back, and say, Marcy, I said, stay back.
Yeah,
I'll come and let you know what I find in a moment.
As you turn around, you can feel. How old are you, by the way?
Yeah, I reckon I'm probably about just hitting double figures, so 10, 11.
All right. You feel a light kiss against your cheek, and you hear a voice. You're still too young for me, and feel almost a pressure twice on your hiney. Of a lady's voice.
A Charleston accent?
Yes.
Behind me?
Yes.
Ew, that's gross! Get off me, you old dame! And I claw backwards to kind of push it away.
Nothing.
And turn around to see it.
Your hands go through nothing, and as you turn around, there's just your light shining back down through the cells.
Do we hear it?
You probably, yeah, I would think that you guys would hear something of that, wouldn't you?
Yeah. So I'll take off running with my knife drawn in the dark, and I'll turn on my sight so I can see.
No, Marcy, not you.
I follow behind with my Polaroid handy.
Not the one with the particles.
Marcy scoots ahead, followed quickly behind by Alec, and head down the hall, Bowie knife in hand. Your sight, does that require a roll, or is that just a straight?
No, I can just see the invisible, especially spirits and magical influences.
As you enter into this space, you could see there is Kenny, and he's shining, and you could see he looks kind of freaked.
Quit messing around, Marcy.
And you see, at that far end of the cells, you see a beautiful girl. And if you look on your character keeper, you will see Sweet Annie. But you see her for just a moment as she steps kind of back into the cells and is gone.
Did you see her?
I quickly, as I come around and come to a stop, I snap a picture with the Polaroid. With the flash, of course, because...
Momentarily blinded, you... how are you reacting?
Stop doing that.
Kitty, how are you reacting to this?
Alec! We had her! I think it was a ghost.
You think? Did she disapparate, or is she still there?
She stepped away, and you don't see her anymore.
Uh-huh.
You scared her off.
I pull out the EMF detector again and start waving it around. Is there any direction that I get a hot spot, so to speak, or is it all just general interference from all the craziness going on?
You do sense it's higher as you kind of move it along, or you're walking along with it.
Yeah, and sort of waving it to this way and that way.
You move past Kenny, who it does a spike up on it, but as you wave it, you see it continues to be stronger as you kind of head down these cells. To either side, your light will sort of come up as this thing begins beeping quicker and quicker. As you turn to look at one of the cells where it seems most bright, suddenly you, Marcy, see that figure, that girl, move forward and kiss Alec gently on the cheek. Alec, you feel this rush of sort of joy and arousal for just a moment. It's a sweet feeling that washes over you. Would you be so kind as to roll a cool check for me?
That's cool. And 8, 9. That'd be a 9.
9. Excellent. Good roll.
But it might push it to a 10.
Someone could, perhaps, if they think there's a way. Marcy certainly saw this happening. The others, you aren't seeing it, Kenny, and I think, are you coming up behind Monsieur Lautrec?
Yeah, very close.
All right. Anybody think that they could have a way to help?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe, Alec, don't snap a picture or panic or do any of the things you normally do, but there's a ghost right next to you.
Okay, I just slowly turn toward the side where the cheek got kissed and sort of back away from that direction.
As you, with your 10, and just purely for the game's notice that I have this custom move coming off so I'll be keeping track of that. But you, backing away, you hear a girlish voice say, Alec, I like that name.
Well, you're a quite pretty young lady, too, for a dead thing.
You haven't just, you can't see her.
Oh, I can't see her?
No, you're just hearing this lightly in your...
Where are you? I cannot see you.
Marcy, as you're coming up, you see she has slid back into that cell, and you don't see her again.
She went into that cell over there. She's gone. Did anyone else see that?
I felt something. I thought it was you messing around.
Nah, I always let you go first into the dark, creepy corners. That's what you're good at.
It's what I do best.
Yeah.
I know you're just a chicken.
No. Come on, I gotta leave something for you to do. I mean,
My friends, it's proven. This place is cursed. They are spirits from the underworld here, living here. We need to be more careful. Listen to me. We need an order of marching through this. This is an adventure where some of us might not return alive, but undead.
yeah, I'd look at it like...
Not the... No. You stay close to me, okay, Marcy?
Right.
You're our most powerful weapon we have here. And at the same time, you're the one most exposed. So you stay close to me, because I have the power to protect you. Kenny, can you go first, as always, but not like as much as you have done, right? Don't go too far. Stay close this time, please. And Alec, you can write everything down what we do. Everybody has a purpose.
So, Monsieur Latrobe, what's your purpose then?
Well, I carry my long curly hair. Well, I have the power to analyze and understand the supernatural. Is that enough for you, Kenny?
That'll do for me. I trust you.
Good.
Alec, as you're shaking the picture, your Polaroid you took down originally, you can see the whole of this cell block lit up. And back over towards the back where you had eventually moved up to, you do see a cloudy, misty sort of shape show up on the Polaroid.
Like, interesting. I take a really close look at that shape. Can I make out features? Is this something I could possibly use to convince my editor that I'm not a kook?
It's that sort of indistinct thing where, a person sees what a person sees, but you would swear you see the beautiful little face in that misty shape.
I feel a warm tingle on my cheek as the memory of that instant happened. So I sort of touch my cheek, and then I gently fold the Polaroid into a little sleeve and put it into the inside jacket pocket.
Excellent.
So where to next?
Kenny, do you lead them in a direction, or is there someone who wishes to point to a place?
Well, I think I might seek out the honest advice of one of my colleagues. Which one of my colleagues would like to suggest, honestly, which is the best way to go from here? Maybe Marcy, do you see anything in one of these routes that is
well, yeah, I think
a good sign?
I'll try to. I'll maybe see if I can tune in to the strongest entity in
Okay.
here.
Alrighty.
Alright, let's see. Roll.
That's going to be a weird.
Cool. Oh, dang, so that is a 12. Actually, no, that's a 13.
Bravo.
Yeah.
So you get to hold 3,
Nice. Alright.
and you could choose to use something now if you'd like to, and hold the rest, or use whatever you'd like. And of course, you're getting that +1 ongoing while acting on the answers.
Alright. I'm going to ask, jeez. What is it planning to do right now?
You're getting this feeling like the entire prison is throbbing with energy. And you can sense that, like that figure you saw here at the cells, is a spirit trying to come through, a spirit calling back to the past to give it strength. There's something far greater throbbing at the underneath the jail, down below. You can sense this energy, and it seems to be waiting, growing.
All right. Well.
Monsieur Letruck, as our resident spiritualist, would you suggest that a spiritual creature such as the one we just recently encountered could perhaps be seeking to communicate with us, and possibly we could treat this entity as a material witness per se in investigating the true ghost which we are seeking? Perhaps this less than malevolent spirit could be coaxed into providing us with some information. Would you think that this could be a course of action we should pursue?
I think you wrote about a similar case in 1986 in the Democratic Republic of Congo, right? There was somebody also working with the spirit together and like showing the way. Like, spirits are not one monolithic body, but they might work against each other.
Sort of a
I totally agree with you. And if you want my honest advice on this,
maybe
we could use your machine, like the EMF, like to start a communication with one of them. But let's also try to listen to Marcy, what she has to say. I think she has just made contact.
Yeah, guys, there's something really big underneath this place. I think it's growing. I'm not sure what it wants, but it's waiting, and it's gathering power. So we should probably hurry up and get that necklace. I don't know where to look. Well, I will. Well, I know it's under the jail, but dang. How can I attract this thing's attention? Not that I want to, but.
Let's see. You're trying to open yourself up, and this thing, you could feel it growing. It's almost like it's reaching out, and you sense it's reaching out for Alec, or something Alec has.
Hey, Alec, I think the big ghost wants you. I don't know why. Yeah, or something you have. Yeah.
I touched the cheek, then realized, oh, I'm carrying the box. Perhaps that maybe I should hand the box to somebody else and see if the attention changes.
As he pulls out the box, you do sense that there is a focus on that box.
And
Yeah.
Okay, I'll place the box back in the thing as to not endanger anybody else. But I'll count on you.
I'm not so sure. As soon as you pull out the box, Kenny drops his skateboard, whizzes across in front of you, and swipes it, or at least attempts to swipe it from your hand and say, "Okay, this is the thing that it's after. Which way do I go to avoid it?"
That would be an act under pressure, I think, as you whip across there.
Yeah, let's do that.
Can I interfere? Like, try to... No, you don't, young man.
Yeah, I believe that you can... It doesn't have a hinder precisely.
Oh, no, I'll just let it happen. I won't interfere. This is more interesting.
You can certainly interfere. I only got a 4.
You don't have to interfere much.
Yeah, there's no interfere in Monster of the Week. No. Yeah. But not necessary usually.
As you scoot across and reach to grab it, I'm guessing just by happenstance or maybe seeing it, Alec has pulled it back so that you swoosh by it. You guys are standing kind of at that base now where the cells are, that area, deciding where you're going from. As you skate right on into one of these cells, stumbling a bit and slamming up rather solidly against one of the walls, knocking the breath out of yourself. And as you land in this goop, it really seems to suck on you a little bit as you to pull out.
I need a shower. We ain't got much time to lose.
And maybe it's not the box alone. Maybe it's the Motorola. So I wouldn't exclude that option. You know where they get their base material from, like their resources. Yeah, I heard bad stories about that. But we should hurry up anyway. I think it's not safe to stay at the same place. If you want my recommendation, I think we should start moving now.
All right.
Well, if whatever's beneath this place wants the box, maybe the necklace is farther down as well.
Seems logical.
All right. You saw that there is the doorway that leads downward, a stairway down, and in that main foyer. There's a side passage off, and then the 2 tower entrances. You begin heading down.
Yeah.
Kenny, you're in the lead, or it's someone else.
We head back down this corridor. Waits, and I'm marching down with my hockey stick at the ready, just in case something occurs. Look back and give the big thumbs up to the crew, and I point down to the stairs, and then I peg it down the corridor to the right. That's what he said. Yep.
All right.
Just scream if something's killing you.
Wait for me here.
You zoom down this other corridor. Off to the side, you see where probably was the guards' barracks. This hallway has 2 compartments, inside of which you see they had put in replica bunk beds, but the mess and the water has tipped those over. But going back through it, other than the smell, it seems to be clear.
Is it a dead end, or is there a route out on the other side?
It does have a door at the end of it, which if you want to, I mean, it opens a little bit where it's been chained, and you can see it opens up into the side courtyard.
Yeah. I'll go through into the courtyard.
Wait a second. Not so quick. Too late again.
So are you going to, because like I say, that one's chained, you'd have to bust the chain or whatever, but you might could squeeze through, honestly. You're a little guy.
Yeah. I'm just skinny runt me. Yeah, if I think I can squeeze through without disturbing stuff, yeah, and I'll look see if there's a little kind of maybe just a small box or something that might just be able to keep that door wedged open, maybe a footlocker or something like that, underneath one of the beds. Grab something like that, wedge open the door, prise it a little bit further, and stick my head through and take a look with this flashlight shining.
You're looking out into what was, it's outside, and you could see that this was probably where the guards would have had like their garden and their place they would go out to from the prison. It probably also had their latrine at one point, but that's not there now. Instead, it's just the kind of courtyard laid out. But you could see, kind of looking back down to your left, there is the blue lights flashing in the distance. It is striking as soon as you stick your head out how you can hear birds and crickets again without these thick stone walls walling you off.
I pull my head back in and I shout out, "Mr. Reed, if you wanted a nap, there's some beds here."
Kenny is a funny guy.
Come and rest, Monsieur Letruck.
I don't think you'll like how you're going to come off in my next story.
It's all right. I never read the newspapers.
I think he's possessed. We should maybe close the door before he comes back.
I'll see if he looks possessed.
Impish but not possessed.
No, he's fine.
You head back to the group after you've given this the once over.
Well, I'll call them through, see if they want to come through, and if they don't, then I will.
Okay. Anybody go and take a look down through the hallway? It is as I described.
Is that the only two? We've got the cell block, and then you have the officer's side, and then the stairwell down.
And the tower things going up. On either side of the entrance, you have the towers, which you have a stairway that goes up for 4 stories there. They just go up the towers. And, of course, at the second story, it lets out where they can walk the walls.
Not sure we have any priority for going up into the towers at this point. There's no indication that there's anything of interest there. So it would seem to me that our best course of action would be go to descend the stairs. Did anybody by chance get a map or a floor plan from our host?
I can have a look in the barracks, see if there's any kind of schematic or anything like that.
Is there a gift shop or something? This place is a tourist attraction normally, correct?
Correct. And as you go over to one of the little entrance where one of the tower rooms are with the stairs, you can see the mess of where they had their little brochure stand. It's been slammed up against the wall. There are brochures along in the muck. The things that were on the walls, which were generally like historical tchotchkes, basically.
I'll pick up one of the brochures, and if there is a map, like of the tourist map, I'm going to grab that.
All right. Taking a look at it, you see where you guys had gone down these cells. They set that up. They talk about the guards area. You can see where they list off a little something. take a look at the horrible conditions even the guards had to live in. And it shows the tour, which would take you around the cells and back through the guards and outside and all around. And then you come back in, and it would take you into the basement, which is where the kitchens and the what is listed on here as torture room is.
Is there only one entrance to the lower floor, the basement?
Yes. There's this one stairway that leads down into there, certainly on this map, and as far as you've seen so far.
I share this information with the group.
And you could see at where this stairway goes down, opens up to the kitchens, opens up to another, like I say, what they call the torture room. There are doors that are at the end of that, but there's no map further. So you guess they don't go past that.
That's good. I think now it's time to better understand this building also from a spiritual dimension after we have understood its geography. I need your help, Marcy, and Mr. Reed also, I need your help. I would like to prepare something to better understand this play. Mr. Reed, you brought me to the right idea, which is we need to contact a good spirit here. To attract the spirit, we have Marcy with us. We can strap on your belly to get as close as possible to the particles. And then, possibly, we can, with the Motorola, we can contact the spirit and let us show which direction on the map. So, what I want to do here, something I would call big magic. So everybody should be careful and please
with
be
the
prepared.
Polaroid or the cell phone?
Pardon?
With my Polaroid or my cell phone? The Motorola's a cell phone. The Polaroid is the camera. Which one do you want to use, or both?
I want the ghost to call us.
Ah, great. Okay. So I pull out my MicroTac phone, switch it on.
All right.
How should we proceed?
This is big magic, so be prepared for the worst.
So you're attempting to ask the spirits, how do you plan to phrase what you ask the spirits?
Are we doing a seance with a cell phone?
Yeah, like
It
sounds like,
yes. We try to call the spirits that they can speak through the cell phone, but to attract them, we strap the EMF around Marcy's belly and let the particles go their way. I then will also apply this little oil. It's completely harmless, Marcy. You can drink it. It won't hurt you.
I hand Marcy the cell phone and explain, young lady, now this is a very expensive piece of equipment, but it works just like a normal telephone. You flip this down, and there's buttons underneath to make the call.
And it might cause cancer, some people say, but it can't be worse than the spirits we are calling.
all right.
I think I'm pretty sure what I have kills cancer.
I think you're probably right.
You guys should probably know that if we're going to use the shadow swarm that I use to do weird things, sometimes I can get a little bit eccentric.
This is why we have Kenny with the hockey stick with us.
Okay. All right. You know what? Why don't you hold my knife, Kenny, and my loaded gun? Don't drop it. That way I can't kill anyone as easily.
All right. I think with our magic,
Right.
it's sounds like, Marcy, why don't we have you roll a weird to do your part in the big magic. We probably need one other person to do this ritual and roll a magic check for it.
Okay.
And I'd say the rest goes into we use some exotic items to do this. I'm not sure that oil and a cell phone have run across each other before in a magical ritual. Um, and if each of you would roll me a weird, please.
Ooh, I got 9.
You got a what?
A 9.
Excellent.
Actually, can I spin? I don't know if any of these holds apply that I have. Or it's +1 ongoing. I mean,
And it's from your
a tune in. Yeah.
tune in. I would say that, yeah, that has certainly to do.
Okay.
Well, is it just use holds for question asking, or?
Well, I get a +1 ongoing while acting on
Right.
the
Oh,
answers.
yes. So, yeah, you have that +1 ongoing from that. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so that is a 10 then.
Excellent. Oh, that's fantastic. And Garrett, how did you do?
Oh, well, I have a 6. So if somebody can push me over, I would be very happy.
Yeah, I will help out, but I have no weird. I am 0 weird, I believe. -1 weird. I'm probably not the best person to help out.
You would be rolling a normal aid another.
Okay, another.
Yeah.
Aid.
It would be
Roll plus cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to roll plus cool. I'm going to help out by suggesting, something from a story that I recently wrote on seances about, channeling or something and rolling.
excellent.
So 6, 7, and it's plus cool. 8.
Excellent. You do get that +1, taking you to a 7. Marcy, it seems, is channeling this energy magnificently well. As Monsieur Lautrec, you stumble a bit over the liturgy, but as you're standing there, who's holding the phone?
I gave it to Marcy.
Marcy? All right.
Yeah.
It crackles. Crackles. She's waiting down here, lad. She's waiting down here. I say she's waiting down here. And it just sort of repeats that for about 30 seconds.
Can we ask a question? What does she want? What does she want?
Oh, she wants out of hell. She's waiting down here. She's waiting. She's waiting down here.
Where is the necklace?
Around her neck and next to her heart. She's waiting. I tell you, she's waiting down here.
Next to her heart, is that meant metaphorically? Or literally?
We won't know until we go downstairs.
It's 9:15. Does anyone want or need to take a 5-minute? Alrighty, let's take 5, and we will hit the tail end of our story going into 10. All right.
Okay.
See y'all in about 5 minutes.
5 minutes. a lot of fun so far.
Yeah.
It's fun being a player instead of the keeper.
Yeah. Yeah. You said you hadn't played before, or have you?
I used to play Dungeons and Dragons, things like that, and my group started playing Dungeon World when our Pathfinder game broke up. I had basically recently heard of it, partly through the Gauntlet. And last New Year's Eve, I decided to run a one-shot Monster of the Week that has turned into a campaign. So we've been playing that ever since. But I took the summer off to do some traveling, so we only recently got started again. So I probably run maybe 6-7 sessions total of Monster of the Week and maybe 5 sessions of Dungeon World, something like that.
I had a similar thing. We've just switched off of our Pathfinder and gone to Dungeon World.
I like Dungeon World so much better than Pathfinder.
I like Pathfinder, but I've played it for a long time. It's nice to try something new.
Yeah, that's almost one extreme to the other. Jeez.
Okay. Well, we've had a creepy spiritual phone call by a gentleman. I don't do credit for it, but the voice should have probably sounded like a little stilted, distinctly northern. I just can't do northern accent. It's just not in my blood. But you get that sort of feeling of a northern voice person, someone probably New York or Massachusetts.
I really wanted to play Alec with like a Ronald Reagan accent, but I can't do accents.
That'd be pretty good.
I'm trying. I'm just not really pulling it off very well.
Some of them some things I can hit on, some I don't. I try and do what I can. Hopefully Garrett's back in a moment. And what are y'all thinking? Here's this guy telling you that clearly it's down. You can see off the map that the only access that's notable is that one way.
I am wishing that we had asked to whom are we speaking.
Yeah.
You could try it too.
I'm wondering,
I suppose, Marcy.
Yeah. Are we started or are we still waiting?
We're still kind of just convincing.
I'm wondering whether or not there's anything in that guide that you picked up which is referring to Lavinia Fisher and where she might be.
Oh, yeah. So is there anything in the guide about that? Or the pretty ghost?
There is no mention of the pretty ghost or little, sweet Annie. You do see that they mention Lavernia quite a bit. She's a big draw. And you can see they talk about if you go into the torture room, that it was said that they held her since she was a woman separately there during her stay. And so it's listed on the little tour. They also mentioned which cell was hers up there in the cell block. It was one y'all had gone by, but it had not attracted you particularly. And it mentions that there are reports she was buried at several cemeteries here in Charleston, but that they are certain she was buried in a potter's field just to the side of the jail.
Oh, so perhaps she's not buried in the cellar of the jail after all.
That's what they
Potter's
say.
Field.
But the ghost, it's around her neck and she is down here, so...
And you were saying, Jack?
Well, we know that it's around somebody's neck. Do we know that it's around Lavinia's neck? I'm not sure that we do necessarily. But if it's she's buried in a potter's field, I wonder if that potter's field is the yard outside, that the garden that is on the other side of the barracks.
I don't know.
Maybe it's worth scanning with the EMF.
Perhaps, but
out there.
Worth a check.
All right. Y'all,
Biggest-
do a quick
The biggest
sweep.
thing
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. The biggest thing I can feel is definitely down. There's something beneath us. I don't know.
I don't want to go down there. It's dark.
Hold my hand.
If you do wish to kind of give a look out through the door, maybe make a quick sweep, you find where the Potter's Field is to the side of this jail. It's down from where the garden was at the back. It's just got a marker that says this was a Potter's Field. There are no gravestones there. They didn't think they deserved them, and they were all murderers that were buried here, so they weren't given holy ground. But you do notice that where the field meets the wall, probably because of the the flood waters coming in, it's sort of sunk, and you can see like little pockets all around in that Potter's Field that have sunk down some.
Flooded into the basement. Okay, since we're out there, I'll give it a quick scan with the EMF detector and the temperature fluctuation detector. I don't have a lot of faith in that particular piece of equipment, but Alec will just quickly pull them out and give them a once over of the area, especially the divots, the depressions.
As you quickly search across them, giving them a that kind of scan across, the EMP is pretty low down here, or EMS. Our EMF is pretty low down here compared to when you're inside. So noticeable, in fact, the background noise is a big difference just putting your hand back and forth through the door. The temperature is dramatically cooler out here, even though it's a pretty balmy, 75-degree Charleston night and humid as hell. Inside, it's still close to 80 degrees.
Out here is cooler.
And there is a bit of an EMF flare where the Potter's Field meets the stone wall of the jail.
Yeah. I think Our Lady Marcy is right. I think that there's probably some excavation of the graveyard, or intrusion of the graveyard into the lower level of the jail. So perhaps our investigation should lead us into the bowels of this unholy place. And then I note that down because I like the way it sounds.
Ooh, that's good. Oh, heading back in, you set your steps towards the basement. And
is the door still open? I take a glance back at it as we are walking by.
The door to the front, or the door
leading outside? Yeah.
Looking back over, no, it's probably the breeze caught it or something, because the front door is closed back.
Oh, that's not scary at all. Okay.
As you start down, who's in the lead, heading down a rickety pair of set of wooden stairs?
I'm happy to take the lead.
The impetuousness of youth will you head down.
How far do these steps go? I mean, are there
Shining
many
down.
steps?
Shining down, it's about a dozen, going down about 15 feet.
Ooh. I sized it up, see whether or not I can actually make that with a single jump with my on my skateboard.
If that banister holds, you could just slide the whole thing.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Has the word epic fail been introduced to the vernacular yet?
don't try this at home, old guys.
Jump it, Kenny.
All right. You skin down the banister. Why don't you roll me a act under pressure for that? I think that's a tremendously gutsy move.
TV6. Oh. That'll be a 9.
Oh, excellent. You skidding down it. As you reach the bottom, and you've kind of got your light, you've come down so that you can see, the stairway comes down, has a wall against one side, the banister against the other. You slid down the banister to look out to the kitchen. It's huge. It's a about 40-foot long, 30-foot wide room that you see has a hearth in it, but it's got all the crud, and that crud seems to have gone up nearly to the ceiling. The dripping black mess, the smell down here is even stronger. And you see that the floor here is still covered about that deep in muck. There's no furnishings in this kitchen area except for one enormously large butcher block. You see that stuck into it is a rather large cleaver, and the butcher block does have a lot of stains on its aged surface. At the other end of the kitchen, you can see where there's a small set of stairs, shining. It leads down. From the little map, that's where there's a storeroom. And then you could see where, at the bottom of the stairs, just straight forward, there's a hallway leading back. And it's a pretty broad one, stone, which, according to your map, is where the torture room is.
And is that heading back underneath the main entrance?
No, it's heading back further towards the back of the place.
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically going along the cell route.
Which side would be sort of adjacent to the potter's field?
It would be if you continued forward through that torture room and then continued all the way back towards the cells in that direction.
So should we follow him down?
And Kenny, as you reach the bottom, you have the opportunity to dismount cleanly, landing in the bottom, there at the muck of the bottom. Or you have the opportunity, if you'd like, to be able to, take a stumble into it, but it will let you actually see around the corner and down towards where that stairway, where the storage room would be, because you would swear, as you kind of hiccup at the bottom of this banister, you can smell pipe smoke, and there's a faint glow from down in that storeroom area across the kitchen.
Yeah, well, absolutely. The reason that I wanted to go along the banister and to get some elevation from the floor level was so I could keep an eye out on maybe if there are any nooks and crannies in the walls, anything like that that was slightly concealed. So if I notice something like that, then absolutely I will try and continue to pursue that.
All right, you kind of wobble off the banister then and land, and there's a bit of a slide as your skateboard kind of pops out from underneath you. You catch yourself, but it and kind of slop through the muck below, resting at the top of the stairs into the storeroom. You're absolutely certain now that you smell pipe smoke, and there's no doubt there's a dim glow coming from that storeroom. You guys up at the top of the stairs, you've seen him slide down and sort of disappear out of sight. Monsieur Lautrec, this is your little friend you have taken care of for quite some time.
Yeah, I have given him my honest advice several times. And he will learn someday. But this is the moment where I also have to take responsibility that I couldn't convince him to better listen. So I take a deep breath in and stomp down to search for him.
All right.
He should be alone for too long, and I say, we are legally here. I have a paper signed in blood by the owner of this place. And then I'm also lost.
You see, the two of you see Monsieur Lautrec heading down. Are y'all following as he makes this pronouncement?
Following cautiously.
I'll stay
All right.
close to him.
Okay.
Unnecessarily close.
Kenny, you're down there. You see this light, smell this smoke. Your skateboard is over at the top of the little stairway down. What are you doing?
And the smoke is coming from the bottom of the stairs.
Yes, coming from that where the storeroom is at the far end of this kitchen area.
I'm certainly not abandoning my skateboard, so I'm going to head towards that. I get my hockey stick out and get ready to grab my skateboard and gingerly check out what might be on down the steps.
As you
And as I pick up my skateboard, I probably maybe at that point notice that Monsieur Lautrec is at the other end of the kitchen, and I give him a kind of, "Don't worry, I'll check it out," kind of motion to make sure that he doesn't put himself into harm's way.
all right. As you peek down this stairway, you know, I've got you. Hold back, peek down this stairway. You see, standing at the bottom of the stairs, he's got a lit taper. Is the gentleman on our character keeper, Peg Leg Sid, in his full pirate regalia. He has this lit taper, which he's drawing off of a pipe. And as he looks at you directly, he goes, "Oh, you're a likely lad. Have a drink with old Pegleg." He pulls up a drinking skin. Monsieur Lautrec, as you look across this kitchen, you're shining your light. You would swear for a moment you could see Kenny. You kind of like saw the palm of his hand, but shining around this room, it's completely empty. You could see that there's a stairway down at the far side, but no Kenny.
Oh, so what does he want from me? He wants to drink?
He wants. You're not seeing. This is Kenny that sees that. Only Kenny saw that.
Ah. I didn't see anything. So what do I see?
This room is empty. Kenny has disappeared.
He has disappeared. I might have some spirit revealing powder with me. So I spent one of my hold and like get this powder out, and then
All right,
to make
that's
it visible.
that sounds like you're using magic. Why don't you roll me a weird? You have the gesture and the unusual substance.
Yes. And this time I might have more luck. The 10 plus 1, 11.
Excellent.
Yes.
You can see this powder. And Marcy and Alec, you've both managed to get down to the bottom of the stair. Marcy, you're right behind Monsieur Lautrec. You're right just at the bottom of the stairs there. Alec, looking into this now as you shine across empty room, as you this powder across, you see it's making swirling. You can almost see in the swirls a figure that is small and shaped much like Kenny move towards that stairway that you can see with your flashlight at the other end. And as the dust approaches it, you see Kenny sort of stepping down the stairway, or just sort of moving out of vision. But the dust does float around, and you get a smell of pipe smoke.
Kenny!
Don't go ahead too far.
Oh no, we can't get it.
Can I see the? Can I see Pegleg?
Are you going to head into the room where you can get that kind of look down?
Yeah, I'll totally run after when I realize Kenny's disappearing.
You head over to that direction. Getting to the top of that stair, and shining it down into this storeroom, you can see that the storeroom itself is a pretty long room to either side of this stairway. Directly across from you, you can see where there's like wood, where the storm has dumped stuff here or ripped stuff into this area. There's a smell of alcohol that is just permeating your nose coming from down here. And there is something, you can sense the borders of spirit are very thin here, but you don't see any. You don't see Kenny.
Did she disappear as she stepped into there? Can we still?
No, you still can see her there, shining her light down in. If you go to the bottom of the stair to look to either side, you can see that there are great casks that are put up around the walls. Some of them have been busted open by the things, when the flood came through. But they look like they were probably ornamental, nothing old, and they were clearly empty. You see where also, at the other end, the wall had crumbled away. And you see that there are two barrels, look very old, black, rusted bands around them. One of them has been broken open. And you see the now rotting, probably quicker than they previously were, remains of a man in a fine red coat. He's got a big jaunty hat. You can see the remains of his black beard and black hair. But he has probably been inside a barrel of rum for several hundred years, as you can smell this alcohol just flooding where this barrel's broken and the rum has flowed into the room.
EMF detector.
I think it's time for me to explore my dark past, because pirates and undead pirates, well, I lived in Jamaica for a long time, actually. I had a wonderful hammock there, and I listened to a lot of stories.
All right.
And then one day, but let's see how the roll goes, because I have a special move there. And
yes.
I don't want to get... So I might roll plus weird, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Ho, 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 ho. 8 plus 1 is a 9. However, I can use another of my hold to push me through.
Yep. Using it from your Haven stuff?
My mystical library is giving me... Oh no, that's only for Muse Magic. Sorry. Yeah. No, I don't have a plus 1. Let's stick with a 9. I ask one question.
All right.
What black magic do I know that could help here?
Oh, that's very good.
That is the give me more trouble move.
You can just sense that a spirit of probably this person, this body that lays before you, is lurking beyond the veil, close by here, just lurking. And you're certain that he is somehow captured, has somehow pulled your friend Kenny into that spirit world with him. Black magic. Kenny. You would have to do necromancy to try and pull a spirit from the spirit world to here.
Yes. If you want to follow somebody into the world of the dead, you have to get closer to the world of the dead. That usually means to lose a lot of blood. That's a dangerous process. Anybody around me willing to make a journey into the realm of the dead? Kenny is already there.
I have to go and find him. Yeah, let's go. I can see that the borders are weak here. It shouldn't be that hard to get there.
That is almost certainly true. All right, you begin preparing to lower the veil, Mr. Lautrec. Meanwhile, Kitty, you have this pirately gentleman who's coming over to you. He's saying, "Oh, lad, have yourself a drink. It'll calm your nerves."
Am I oblivious to any change of environment? Do I still get the sense that I've just walked down these steps and I'm still in the prison?
It definitely seems different. There are candles burning now in that storeroom, giving off a faint light. Behind you, it is dark, and even when you shine your flashlight up, it seems to just get lost in the blackness.
So the steps kind of, the top of the steps have kind of disappeared from my view. Well, I'd say that's a mighty kind of you, Mr. Pirate. But I really shouldn't be drinking any of that kind of stuff. I probably oughtn't be talking with you either. But it was very nice to meet you. What's your name, so I can give you a proper goodbye, because I need to go back and find my friends.
Well, kid, I be Pegleg Sid, and I have to tell you, you're here for a while, my boy. I've been waiting nearly 300 years.
Well, Mr. Captain Pegleg, Sid, that's very kind of you to invite me to stay, but we've really got to press on, and I can't be I just don't think it's safe, really. And I turn around and peg it straight up the steps.
You turn and run, and as you kind of rush up into this darkness, you find yourself stumbling down to the bottom of the stairs, looking at Pegleg as he goes, "Oh, lad. Oh, no, lad."
I hold my hockey stick. So no, don't you try anything, Mr. Sid. Don't you try anything.
I'm a friendly man now, lad. I'm
friends will
more
be
than
here.
help you.
My friends will be here any minute.
Ah, I'm sure they will.
Why won't you let me go?
Is it just me, lad? I'm stuck here waiting just like you. Also, I've learned a few tricks along the way.
What do you mean it's just you? This place is filled with odd folk from the past.
This is my special squat, you see. I can't leave. I get a visitor here every once in a while. Some of them have a drink with old Sid. Get friendly like.
Mr. Holtzclaw said that there were pirates.
Oh, Holtzclaw. He would know. Never met a Holtzclaw that wasn't a scallywag to begin with.
Oh, you know him?
I know Holtzclaws.
What was the name of this one? This was Percy, was it?
Percy.
Percy. Well, I know Percy Holtzclaw. Who do you know?
He draws back a bit. Oh, well, lad. Maybe have a drink, and I'll tell you what I know. He sips back a swallow and hands the cup to you.
I'll take the drink, but I'll not drink it. I'll take the glass.
Mm-hmm.
Gingerly, okay. Maybe this guy's got some information that we can use. But so I'll sit down at the bottom of the steps as far away as possible I can from him. I'll take the glass and step backwards and say, "Well, yeah, tell me about Mr. Holtzclaw."
Roll me a manipulate someone.
Is that plus charm? So 9.
All right. He says, well, as I say, chin chin, lad, and I'll tell you a little story. So he's willing to talk, but he clearly wants you to have a sip of the drink. Just wouldn't be polite drinking all on me own.
Oh, I've seen what this has done to people down at the book club. My mum used to drink a bit too much of this stuff. I'm not sure that I'm. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the drink, and seeing as it's dark, I'm going to use an old trick that and just pour it down the side of my mouth. So that it looks as if I drunk it.
Okay.
And I'll give a wince. That's disgusting. I'll spit some bits out, and I'll make sure that pretty much all of it goes out. And I might need to have to feign that in some way.
Why don't we have you act under pressure for that real quick? And roll that. Meanwhile, we're going to go back to your comrades who are in the process of trying to find you, I believe. You have been setting up a ritual, I believe.
Yeah, I will clear off the table with the butcher knife, taking the butcher knife and putting it in my satchel.
All right.
Can I try to tune in to the spirit of this pirate's corpse in order to help the truck out with this ritual?
You certainly could.
Is the skull free? Could we pick the skull up and place it on the table beside her as we do this ritual thing?
You can if you wish. You're going to reach over there and grab the skull. As you do, as you pull it out, comes jingling out of the coat. You see several gold coins land there at your feet. And you pull the head back. As you do, for a moment you almost think it moves slightly.
Interesting. So I'll walk over and place it gingerly on the table. Walk back and pick up the gold coins.
Okay.
And kind of rifle through, see if there's anything else useful or valuable on the rest of the body.
He has a very rusted cutlass, but you do manage to find several pieces of gold that are in the rotting pockets of this once very fine velvet coat.
I'm going to stack them neatly beside the skull on the table.
Okay.
Something to which I think that spirit is probably tightly bound.
I think that sounds like a nice condition to a bonus condition. So I think I'm going to give a +1 forward for when we roll here. You're wanting to do a tune in, Jeremy? What does Marcy's tune in?
Trying to tune in on the captain, Iron Piglegs.
Okay.
Location in the spirit realm, but I rolled an 8.
An 8.
Unless, well, if I get a +1 for the skull, then it's a 9.
9. All right. You have one question you could ask, and you'll get the one ongoing on acting on the answer.
Well, I'd like to know where he is right now, but of course I know he's here in the physical world, but I'm hoping to try to figure out how to ease into the spirit world. I can't.
Okay. You're still deciding, is that what we're not?
Yeah, I'd like to know where he is right now in terms of his otherworldly location, if that's possible.
All right. You're reaching out, and you're in your head. You get that sort of buzzed feeling of having had a few shots down at the bar. You're kind of a little fuzzy-headed. You can sense yourself right here, far away, distant in the past. He has retreated back to his past. But you know that the same as where he is now and you here, there is his body. It is this anchor that holds him here.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll tell the other guys.
All right.
Much.
All right, so if we dispose of the body, will we lose our friend? Will he be able to come back, or will he be trapped forever on the other side?
Good that you asked me for advice. So, we need to get our friend back, and then, at the right moment, close the connection. If we do so, then we have a chance to get out here all alive, somehow. But to travel through, I first need to get closer to the dead.
Right.
All
So,
right.
does the truck have a +1 from each of us then?
That is correct.
Cool. All right.
All right, Garrett, you have plenty of exotic materials. I'm guessing that Monsieur Lautrec is using incantations, or how does he present his magic?
His magic, as I said, you need to get closer to the dead. And for getting closer to the dead, I have to lose a lot of blood. So I ask one of you to cut open my arms. And after, like, let's say 2 liters, all right? 2 liters, not more, please. After 2 liters, stop the bleeding, right? I want to get closer to the dead, not dead.
All right.
Not dead, right? Okay.
So I will.
RC, you're preparing yourself?
Yeah, I am a little worried because I went to school in America in the 80s and not quite sure how much a liter is. I don't mention this in advance as I pull out my oversized knife.
Okay. And now you can hear me incantate some songs, but they are more like panicking, and I'm singing like current pop songs just to get a little bit distracted from what is happening to my arms.
Monsieur Lautrec, you take 2 harm.
Ooh.
Yes,
And as your blood flows, call upon your magics.
Yes, my blood flows over the gold coins, over the skull. I'm there. I'm waiting. I want to travel to you. I'm getting closer. I can hear you already. The roller coaster starts to roll.
Roll me weird.
And then, yeah, I get unconscious and go to the floor, but I hope that my spirit is traveling and I'm not just unconscious. 7 + 1 is 8.
All right. Kenny, you have sat there. You've shot your drink back as the pirate moves forward, and if you don't move away, he will clap you on the shoulder. Good lad. I was drinking like that when I was your age. You know, you say that Holtzclaw, well, she's wanting one of the Holtzclaws. She's all excited, is Miss Lavinia. She's planning on getting married. Who knows, lad? Maybe we'll be invited to the wedding. I do wish you'd have brought that ring bearer, though. I'd have definitely liked to have rode her trail from hell. Have another drink, lad. As the mists part, and you see Monsieur Lautrec there, coming kind of from the top of the stairs. There's this mist. Monsieur Lautrec, you see that this pirate standing there beside him. He's got his hand on the boy, and he's bringing this cup, and to your mind, it looks like he's about to pour the drinking skin. He's fixing to pour a drink down this boy's throat, Kenny's throat. What do you do?
I drink it. I don't let poor Kenny drink it.
You grab it and slug this back as the pirate goes, "Oh, that's a nice lad. Take a good swallow." Kenny, you see beyond Monsieur Lautrec, who has reached down and grabbed a hold of this drink, taking the fatal shot for you. Do you run up the stairs where now you can see there is light and probably Marcy and Alex's heads peeking over?
Kenny, get out here if you can!
Well, what I want to do is to stop Monsieur Lautrec from drinking this foul alcoholic brew. And so if I see him up there, then I want to try and knock this goblet or whatever it is out of the pirate's hand, or out
Looks
of.
like a protect someone. Roll me a tough.
We're starting to fight about the drink.
Give me that drink.
So as I say this, I shout out to Monsieur Lautrec, "Don't drink that," and that allows me to and grasp him by the hand. So rather than protecting with tough, let's get out of here. If you can protect someone by telling them what to do by leading them out, roll plus charm instead.
Yeah, I'll let that. Yeah.
Okay.
No, never.
Is
Ghost invites you to something you are not allowed to reject, otherwise you're bound forever.
is the aperture, the gateway, visible to us, or is it only visible to Lautrec and Kenny?
Marcy, you can see where this image of Lautrec has left his body and is now, you can see it struggling at the bottom of the stairway, kind of fading in and out as it struggles back and forth.
So I rolled a 9.
Oh, all right. You can make a choice. Well, let's see. You protect it. Okay. You do pull this drink away, but the splash of it kind of flows up into the air as you feel some of it hit your tongue with its burn. And Monsieur Lautrec, as some of it flies into your eyes, blinding you momentarily.
Into his gaping arm wound.
And hauling yourselves up the stairs behind you. "No! Get back here!" And as you, Kitty, moving back, pushing the blinded Monsieur Lautrec, this pirate lunges forward, swiping, and then
I pick up his corpse and throw it down the steps at the pirate.
Oh, excellent! As the corpse goes flying past you, Monsieur Lautrec, and you, Kitty, it smashes into the floor as this pirate is leaping forward. His sword moves through just as the body passes in front of him. It is shattered as it's hitting the floor, and his sword, it goops everywhere as rot and smell issue forth from it, and the pirate screams, "No!" And there's a big buzzer as he crumbles away from all of your sight. And we're going to stop there.
Super.
We will, when we start up, have a bit of an effect coming off of those who had some of these spirits put in their body in one way or another. And it's getting past 10. I don't want to keep people late, so let's do a quick end of session so we can try and get some XP. And a few folks did have some fails, so hopefully you've got some points from that. Well, I guess hopefully. But did we conclude the current mystery? I don't think we concluded the current mystery. Did we save someone from certain death or worse?
Kenny, we kind of possibly saved from, so he could have got himself out.
I think so too. I think so too. So that's a yes. Did we learn something new and important about the world? I think we've learned quite a bit about what's going on, but some thoughts?
Yeah, we learned about the ghosts. We learned that there's ghosts that they can interact with the world and create pockets of their own reality that are separate from each other.
I think that's good. That's a yes.
That they don't like camera flashes.
But who does? And did we learn something new and important about the hunters? It's the first session. That's kind of a gimme. So we definitely got 3, which means everyone will get 2 XP. Did anyone happen to pop? Anybody go over?
Yeah, I think I did. I should just explain to the players that a couple of my moves might have looked a bit like dickish moves to kind of run away with things. I wasn't honestly trying to do that. I'm contrary, and that essentially is get some advice and then do the opposite in order to gain experience.
Excellent move.
And which complements really nicely Monsieur Letruc to give advice, have it taken, and he gets the experience. It's brilliant. What a combination. It works really nicely.
Whatever we do, we always get +1 forward and experience.
It's fabulous.
So you should have, those of you that managed to get to 5, you could pop over between times. You could look, or we can hear what we got at the beginning of the next one. Keep in mind, I'm hoping everybody will at least get a level somewhere in the course of things, and you get to level up immediately when it happens. So as soon as you hit that 5, boom, you're going up. And thank y'all for playing. I hope everybody had fun.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was excellent. Thank you.
Nice meeting all you guys.
It was really nice meeting y'all.
Yeah.
And do I have everybody, all the same folks, next week or 2 weeks from now, correct?
Yeah, I think I have signed up now. Yeah. Cool.
Wonderful.
2 weeks? Yep.
2 weeks.
Cool.
Yep.
Excellent.
All right.
No, it was great to play with you all. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Me too.
Same here.
All right. See y'all in 2 weeks. Y'all have a good one.
Thanks, Tyler. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.